The biggest myth of all time when it comes to running profitable Facebook ads is that you should be targeting specific audiences. This couldn't be further from the truth. What does it mean to target specific audiences with your Facebook ads? What we're talking about here is interest groups, lookalikes, behaviors, something above and beyond age, gender, and location that you would actually put into the detailed targeting section that restricts the ads from being shown to the people that are going to best respond to them. Remember, ads make their own audiences and do their own targeting. Detailed targeting is a restriction on that and costs extra. Let's cover two of the biggest drawbacks when trying to narrow down and use specific audiences. First, really high CPMs. If you're seeing $30, $40, $50 CPMs, one of the biggest reasons that's happening is because you're using detailed targeting, interest groups and lookalikes and the sort. Because remember, ads make their own audiences. If the audience that ad appeals to isn't in that interest group or lookalike that you're targeting, it's going to be ridiculously expensive for you to show ads to those audience members because it's ultimately a burden on their experience, and Facebook isn't going to let you cause a liability to their business model purely because you paid them money. The second biggest liability when using these targeting audiences is that ultimately they're small and they fatigue. Because remember, your ads are making their own audience and there's only so many people that your ad is going to appeal to inside of that audience. And you can either try to chase that audience down and make more and more ads to appeal to that small thing that's going to get worse and worse and worse and more expensive, or you can abandon them entirely and just go broad. Let's cover three of the big benefits of broad audience. Number one, it's stable, projectable, and cheap, meaning that you never need to use something else. And it's the lowest cost way of accessing inventory on Facebook. The second big benefit of broad is that it never fatigues. You're never gonna run out of people to talk to. It's literally everybody in the age, gender, and location that you are targeting. So you never have to worry about it depreciating in value. As a matter of fact, because ads make their own audiences, and because we're using a machine learning platform, the longer you run a broad audience, the better it gets. The third big benefit from using broad audiences is that it provides no restriction to the audience that your ads want to target, which ultimately means you never need to use more than one ad set to target all of those people, because your ads never fatigue and they have no restriction on who they can appeal to. You never have an audience that will ever get worse. And if you use creative testing to improve your ads, your results will always get better. And every penny you spend today makes the penny you spend in 3 months, 6 months, and a year better. The honest truth is, broad audiences, as soon as you adopt them, as soon as you get one ad set at only age, gender, and location, you'll never have to turn it off, ever. So let me give you two pieces of advice when creating content to run at a broad audience. First, remember that your ads do the targeting. So every piece of content that you make, both the images and the videos and the words you use, should target specifically who you want that ad to appeal to. That's really important, because remember, some ads are going to appeal to everybody and probably be far less efficient at getting a sale, but really efficient at reaching a whole ton of people. This is your prospecting ad. Your other types of ads might do really well at targeting folks who already know about your product, service, or offer, whether or not it's from your brand or not. And these can be retargeting ads. They're probably going to be more efficient, and you know what? They might not get as much spend. And that doesn't mean Facebook is broken. It just means that ultimately, when we're using a broad audience and we're letting Facebook determine where to spend, we are looking at the blended result between the very broad ads and the very focused ads. And we get a really good mix between those, we're going to crush with stable results that can scale. The second thing that we need to keep in mind when running ads to a broad audience to make them effective is that we don't need 5 versions of the same ad. Oftentimes you'll see people say, well, we had this great ad, let's just make 10 versions of it. Remember, all you are doing is cannibalizing the success of the ad that used to work. So you're gonna have to creative test over and over and over again, because every new test ultimately makes the existing piece that was good less good. And the faster you test, the faster things are gonna get bad. But once you solve a problem and you leave it alone and try to solve a new problem, either to appeal to a different individual or target a different part of your funnel, again, in just that broad audience, the faster your account is going to be stable, projectable, and scalable with intent and strategy. The number one thing you can do wrong is try to solve a problem that you've already solved another dozen times. Now, when I'm using broad audiences, I've got one campaign, I've got one audience with all my winning ads in it. I also have other ad sets running dynamic creative specifically to solve one of two problems. Either A, I'm trying to improve one of the ads that I have running so that it does its job better, or I'm trying to make an ad that appeals to a different type of person or in a different part of the funnel. Because remember, our creative determines our CPA. So it is fundamentally vital to consistently be testing all of your creative. I only use dynamic creatives. I only follow the 3-2-2 method. And with this one campaign, you can easily spend 5, 6, 7 figures a month in one campaign with one offer against only broad. That's how you win. So let me go over one of the most frequently asked questions I get from a lot of my students from the Facebook Ads MBA program and everybody inside of Disruptor School. Why should I go broad when my lookalike does better? Let me tell you what's actually happening. Your lookalike group or your interest group looks better on Facebook, actually bringing you more business to every single other channel. While Facebook might look better today, in a way that's going to get worse and worse and worse over time, and ultimately you have to turn off that audience, which means you're investing in depreciating assets and your results are only going to get worse. What's actually happening is because it's a smaller audience, you're hitting these people more frequently, and they're people that are already potentially in your funnel. Facebook reporting has a larger overlap with every other element of your marketing efforts. So greater overlap with email, a greater overlap with search and display, and with TikTok and YouTube. Ultimately what this means is your Facebook report gets better and better, but your overall revenue doesn't. Going broad actually increases the amount of search volume you get. It gives you more email addresses from which to send emails to. It actually even helps your email open rate as well. Ultimately, the more people you can reach in a qualified way by going broad, the better every single marketing channel gets. And remember this one stone cold fact: Facebook is probably the least efficient way of getting sales, but it is the most effective way of amplifying the things that do it really well. It's a business amplification tool, not a profit generating device. That is one of the biggest secrets to overall success that you need to know right now. After you start getting more and more of your purchases from broad, you're going to start to notice that all of your customers look and feel and behave in very similar fashions, which means ultimately we can begin to secure future cash flow because we can improve the LTV and second purchase rate of our customers, which will help us scale with confidence and consistency. I got a great video on it. Check out this card in the top right and it'll help you deep dive into everything you need to know about that. So in conclusion, this is everything you need to know. All you ever need to target with your Facebook ad is broad audiences. That means age, gender, and location. Broad is a noun, not an adjective. We don't need to use interest groups. We don't need to use retargeting audiences. We don't need to use lookalikes. Broad does all of that because our ads do the targeting in the modern era of Facebook. When we do creative testing, we're ultimately trying to have the ads handle the responsibility of prospecting, of retargeting, of overcoming objections, and ultimately targeting different people. Our ads need to focus on very specific customer avatars to overcome objections and handle the overall sales funnel. But remember, no two customer journeys are exactly the same. And one of the biggest advantages of this is the longer we run our broad audience, the better it's going to get, which is exactly the opposite you're going to see from everything else that ultimately gets worse and worse and worse, so that audience fatigues and you have to turn it off. Broad, when you get it right, can run for years. That is vital. And we always need to be testing for new ads, and those new ads need to either be doing what we're doing but better, or do something different, targeting a different type of person or overcoming a different type of objection, or ultimately handling prospecting or retargeting duties in a way that we're not currently doing, so we can always add to the mix. And really all we need is 4 or 5 ads, and you can easily get to 4, 5, 6, 7 figures a month in Facebook ad spend inside of one campaign, where all you're doing is targeting a broad audience with your winning ads in one ad set, and have a couple other dynamic creative tests following the 3-2-2 method alongside to support it. And yes, you're gonna have lookalike audiences and interest groups that look better. And you know what? For a couple weeks, they might even be better, but eventually they're gonna die. You can either spend your time chasing depreciating assets, starting over, and every time you do, it's gonna get a little bit more expensive and a little bit more stressful. and another 6 months and another year is going to go by and you're going to be in a slightly worse place than you are today. Or you can target fraud, and it's only going to get better, and it's going to make every other marketing channel you have more effective. Search, email, and everything else, because you're reaching more people, because ultimately Facebook is a business amplification tool. It is not a profit generation device. Once you embrace fraud and reject the marketer ego, your bank account will start to stack paper in a way that gives you confidence, in a way that is consistent, and in a way that you can project. So ultimately you can start focusing on more important business problems, like getting funding and exiting your brand. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more content about running profitable Facebook ads. And if you would like to have some guided one-on-one time with me, go ahead and smash the first link in the description below. If there are any other topics that you'd like me to cover, I'll go ahead and make a video on them. Just drop it in the comments section. And until next time, I'll see you on the internet. Bye.